You're live. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Yvonne here from My Halal Kitchen. Good evening. We're doing another evening broadcast tonight with a special guest all the way from Singapore, Martin Herbrich from Blue Angel Farm. Hello and welcome. Assalamu alaikum, Martin. How are you?
Salam, everyone, and thanks a lot for the introduction. I love it. You're like inviting someone on show, although we just talked about we have 15 hours time zone difference.
Yeah.
So where I am at the moment, it is 10 a.m. in the morning, and where Yvonne is, it's 7 p.m. in the afternoon, or evening. But hey, great to have me on your show, and I'm more than happy to answer your questions and probably the questions the audience gonna have.
Yeah. Thank you again. I know it was a bit of a challenge to schedule because even I get confused when we're talking and discussing and trying to plan it. And it's like, wait a second, you're a day ahead of me and it's the morning for you. I should know this by now. I'm dealing with, mashallah, people from around the world, but it never ceases to be easy to make sure it's a doable time for people. And I'm not planning them to get up at like 4 a.m. I think you were even willing to do that. And I was like, no, it's okay.
For me, is I'm also dealing with colleagues everywhere. I'm a morning person, so I prefer getting up at 4 in the morning for interview or some Teams or Zoom or whatever, rather than at 10 p.m. in the night.
You're more fresh.
But everyone is different.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited to talk with you today because we connected months and months ago about your multivitamin, halal multivitamin, with a particular focus on women's health, and it really piqued my interest. And you sent the product to me. This is what it looks like. Whoops, I'm not in the frame. There we go. I'm going to put the link down at the bottom. But we're going to talk about this multivitamin because there's a lot of really interesting intricacies about it. And you've sent a lot of materials to me, talking about the benefits of each of the components. And Ramadan is coming, and it's a really important time to focus on our health. So I think this will be a really interesting discussion. And just a disclaimer for everybody, this is not a substitute for medical advice. So please seek the guidance of your physician for any medical conditions, but you are welcome to ask questions about the supplements and the business and all of that in the chat box below. So let's get started, and let me introduce you properly, Martin. Martin Herbrich is the founder of Blue Angel Farm, joining us today from Singapore. Blue Angel Farm is a renowned halal health company that is committed to helping Muslim consumers along their journey of keeping fit and healthy by releasing 100% certified halal products. Recently, the company has announced the launch of the world's first ESMA/GSO certified halal vitamin and mineral called Essentials, which I just showed you all, with a unique formula that is specifically designed to cover the vitamin and mineral needs of Muslim women, including some additional ingredients for more benefits. And that's sort of what we just said. So, Martin, tell us a little bit more about you yourself, how you even began to what's your journey from what you were doing before you started this company, and what made you create this product? What's your why? I always like to ask people, what is it that made you put so much work and effort and time, blood, sweat, and tears? I know that's behind the scenes to create a product like this. It couldn't have been easy.
Sure, my pleasure. So I started my life with a corporate identity or corporate career. For 25 years, I built up businesses in Asia Pacific. I'm originally German, so mainly for German companies. Germans are famous for machinery, so it were mainly machinery companies. And then when I turned 50, it came to a tipping point, where you think, are you still doing the right things in life? I've done my career where when I left my corporate job, I had 850 employees and over 200 million US dollar turnover to look after. But somehow I didn't feel satisfied. You get up in the morning and you have a great, comfortable job, but something is missing. And I've done a lot of things in my life. So I said, hey, let's take a kind of sabbatical. But most people, if they do a sabbatical, they they want to go for Hajj or Umrah, or they want to run a marathon or do a triathlon or climb a mountain or start scuba diving or get healthy, get fit. And I've done all of that already during my normal life. So I thought, hey, what you gonna do? So I thought, hey, let's try to be entrepreneurial. It's never too late, no? And let's take the moment and take a step back from corporate and see if there's anything more meaningful I could do with my life. And I always had this idea about supplements because I'm a hobby athlete. I competed in 2010 in the Ironman in Kona in Hawaii. I did these Spartan races, these obstacle course races. In 2017 I competed in Lake Tahoe.
Is Ironman the one where you do the swimming, running?
Yeah,
and
it's the 4K swim,
wow.
180K cycle, and 42K run. But disclaimer: just by taking a multivitamin, you can't do that. No, so you need proper training.
Yeah, right.
And I also latest I qualified for the UCI cycling World Championships in Whistler in Canada, which unfortunately because of COVID get cancelled.
Okay.
But all this on amateur level. No, so my wife is always laughing because I'm not getting money to do all this. I have to pay money to
join these
participate.
competitions.
But yeah, then I'm married to a lovely wife in Singapore. So she is Malay, Chinese, Indian, Arab. So a little bit of everything. And one of her sisters, she lives in Dubai, in the UAE, for over 20 years. So the both of us, we have been exposed to the Muslim lifestyle of the Malay community in Singapore, which is quite big community. When Singapore became independent 50 years plus from Malaysia, no, it became its own country, but it still maintains a rich Islamic identity. And obviously in the UAE, the Middle East. And yeah, we were back and forth there for many years. And I always had ideas to do something regarding nutrition, supplement, halal, Islam, and so on. But when you're in your corporate job, you never really have the time to think things through. No, you only have the weekend and a few days of vacation. And then I said, okay, let's take the risk, let's take the journey, quit your job, which most people can't understand, no? And then start your own journey. And yeah, obviously you need a product, and the world is not shy of multivitamins. If you jump on Amazon and you put multivitamin, you probably get 500 answers. And to my biggest surprise, you hardly can't find any halal certified supplements. So having family in the Middle East, so that was basically my first source. So I asked my sister-in-law, who works pro bono in the orphanage in Abu Dhabi. So she also has a lot of connections to the local Emirati. You know, often as a foreigner, it's not always easy to mingle with the local people of the Middle East. They often they like, or they try to stay within their caste.
Right.
But luckily, a lot of women also work pro bono in this orphanage, so she got connections. And yeah, to my biggest surprise, the Middle East, where you would expect everything to be halal, supplements do not necessarily have to be halal certified to be sold. Now, if you buy food, it's a bit crazy. So if you go to the supermarket, there is no question about that. Whatever you buy, whatever restaurant you go to, is halal. There's not even a discussion about it. No, and usually for medicine, there's also no discussion because it's your choice. No, and unfortunately, certain medication needs to be dissolved in alcohol. No, otherwise it can't have its effect. But because this alcohol is not messing up with your brain, so it's okay. No, because the intention is not to get you drunk. No, the intention is to heal something.
Was this many years ago? Because I think things have changed quite a bit now. But this wasn't recent, was it?
That was, yes, that was 4 or 5 years ago.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So that was not too long.
Okay.
And yeah, and then I started investigating a little bit. And the thing is that in many countries, so you have food, no discussion. Halal.
Mhm.
You have medicine, usually no discussion. But supplements somehow fall in between. So in some countries, they are called food supplements or dietary
Yeah,
supplements.
it's
And then
okay.
usually they are categorized as food, so they have to follow the guidelines for food.
Yeah.
In other countries, they are classified health supplements, so they fall under the classification of medicine,
Mhm.
or pharmaceutical products.
Mhm. Mhm.
And the that was one surprise. But biggest one was that people thought whatever they buy off the shelf in the Middle East is halal certified anyhow, because the authorities would take care that nothing enters the shelves which is not halal certified.
Mhm.
Little jump in Singapore, there's about 15% of the population is Malay, uh, follow Islam.
Mhm.
They are far more halal conscious than the people in the Middle East who 100% follow Islam, because their products are constantly mixed with non-halal products. Oh, you go
Right.
to a supermarket in Singapore, of course you find halal products, but you find any kind of product. Oh, you have a great selection of halal restaurants, but you also have non-halal
Mhm.
restaurants, or hawker centers and so on. Also, I then I thought myself, how how to work across this confusion, or how to make a product that people are aware it is halal certified, and not just the sheer fact that you're living in a Islamic country means that whatever you consume is halal. And I'm still working on that one. And to my biggest surprise, it is much easier to sell a halal product in the US or in Singapore or Malaysia or Indonesia than in the Middle East. Now, where you would expect that
You expect
everyone
because
would
they
go
think
after
everything
your
is
product.
already halal, right? What's the need for it,
Uh,
right? Yeah.
that's true, and I'm very happy that you have this other question here. So, for most people, halal it doesn't matter whether you understand the concept of halal, whether you follow Islam or any other religion. For most people, halal is something religious, which it
Mhm.
is, but that's not the only thing. Also, halal on a food item or a restaurant or a supplement is also a sign of quality. No, it doesn't mean,
It
oh,
should.
it's halal certified. That's because it's religious. No, it's like halal certified, if it's properly certified, is so much more. No, is how you treat everyone and everything within the whole supply chain.
Mhm. It should.
No,
That's
it's like
the ideal. Yes.
with who do you work? Where do you source? How you do your transport? How you do your packaging? Or you know it even better than me with all your business and your food and so on. Or halal usually does not mean that you get your ingredients at the biggest industrial establishment, which has industrial culling of their animals, and whatever vegetables you buy, they grow in hydro
Mhm.
cultures, and the only intention of the business is to make money. No, no, halal is a socially conscious approach to whatever is around you. So we are a family business,
That's the
and
ideal. That's the way it's supposed to be. That's
it's
what
supposed to be.
meaning is, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So you
and
explained it well.
and we we try very hard. No, so
Mhm.
whenever we can, and you know, it also a company is not just a product. No, you need someone come up with your logo and do your web page, and there's so many things,
So
and
many
we
facets,
try
right?
now, and we try to give it to small and medium-sized companies like ourselves, from owner to owner, and if possible, with the Muslim ownership or Muslim employees, which I must also admit is not always possible, no? But as much as we can,
That's fine.
and
I mean,
yeah, but really try to work with like-minded people.
mm-hmm.
And that's what I find so great in the also, if we call it the halal economy. No, it's
Yes.
the new word. It's like business, or previously I worked for big corporate. It's a very cold world out there. No, you're dealing with each other because you have to, not because you want to. But within the wider halal community, I find it's like each and every business partner usually becomes a friend.
Yeah,
No?
I
And
think we develop really long relationships in this industry, right? We want to meet each other, and then so we're sort
yeah,
of that
and then it it
business,
it
right?
it
Yeah.
it it sticks, no? And like again, previously you deal with someone, and then 3 months later, oh, they're gone. No, they went somewhere else, or they got retrenched, or they do something else. And
Yeah.
since I started this, so commercially we're just about a year and a half, but obviously things started much earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Whoever I started dealing with is still on board, and we're still in contact. So I did not have the need to change any kind of supplier or partner. I work a lot with the freelancers also,
Mm-hmm.
and it's so nice. They're still all there, no? And even if they probably change jobs, you're still in contact. So things become much more
Yeah.
personal, no? And suddenly it's like uh, I had this great guy, a compound pharmacist, who helped me a lot with the formula. And he's actually a Indonesian Muslim, but who lived in the US for a long time, then went back to Indonesia, went to Singapore. And if 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 I negotiate a contract with him to help me doing my formulation and so on, I don't feel like paying a company a compensation for their work. I feel like helping a brother who then gets money for his family and their family and their business. And it just it is a business. No, at the end of the day, we all have to make ends meet, but
You
it
found your
feels
purpose.
better. No, I think probably you can explain, because you are 13, 20 years. How long you're an entrepreneur now?
Going on 14 in this.
Thought, no? So I'm sure you know what I'm. Sometimes it's very
Yeah.
difficult to
No,
describe. No?
I think you're right. Like yourself, I think there's you have a lot of passions, right? Or there's things that you want to all put together. Like I really love, for example, food, travel, international, anything. Of course, Islam, and I really wanted to be part of a community. How do you put all that together? Well, you take your talents, your God-given talents, and your opportunities and resources. You put it together to create something that you hope the world can benefit from. Right. And that's what I see over and over again in the industry. People like yourself who, you know, came to a point where they said, I want to feel something too, right? You want to feel like you have a purpose, like what you're doing is actually benefiting other people. There's value you're giving to the world. And let's be honest, it's not, for example, your product is not just for Muslims. Anybody can
No,
benefit
no, no,
from
no.
it, right? So
Definitely.
it's the beauty of this halal economy is that it's so niche, and you find those like-minded people, but all of the products, whether it's Islamic finance, pharmaceuticals, food, travel, can be enjoyed by anyone. It's not exclusive to Muslims, but you are in this ecosystem that you feel comfortable in, and that you're understood. There's a lot of language and values and ethics and things that go on that, like you said, really doesn't jive in outside of it. So it's a place for people to thrive, I think, if you can find your niche, right? So
It's absolutely true, and that's what we mentioned at the beginning. It is quality, quality in all aspects of life,
yeah,
and
we
that's
have
also how then everything came together. Because obviously, I found out that there are hardly no halal certified supplements, and then of course I asked myself why. No, why are the big boys, the Now Foods and Blackmores, and then all these big companies, why are they not jumping on this economy? Obviously, it's the fastest growing one in the world.
they will now.
And they probably will. But so one reason is, and you also asked me about that one, is there is no standardization about a halal certification. So basically, every region, every country, or multiple institutions within the same country follow different organizations or different thoughts how to certify a product. No, so imagine now if you're still driving, you're driving a car in the US, and there would be 15 different bodies to certify that your car is ready to drive on the road. No, it wouldn't work. No, so for certain things you need standardization, and unfortunately, that's something the halal economy still has to achieve. So I was
Yeah.
really taken back about all these different certificates.
Yes,
No,
there's.
and then I thought, who this is a jungle, no? And I want to sell my product globally, and I cannot say, okay, in California I need this certificate, and in Ohio that one, and in Canada this, and in Singapore that. So I said, okay, what is the most comprehensive one? What is the most difficult one? Oh, and then that's the ESMA GSO one, basically from the UAE or the GCC countries, which are the Gulf Cooperation countries.
ESMA comes from UAE, correct?
That's from the UAE, and the GSO is basically the Gulf Cooperation.
Okay, so this
And
is, excuse me, Martin. Can you
yeah,
just clarify something for people, because this is different than your halal certification, like the Ivanka mark, or what?
okay. So yes, a very good question. So Ivanka is a certifying body,
Right.
and depending on how professional they are, they can certify according to different standards. So they basically have a catalog, and they say, okay, these are the 24 different standards we can certify you. Pick one, and according to this one, we have to do a different kind of certification process. But good thing is Ivanka is globally recognized, because there's inflation of certification or certifying bodies. And some say, okay, I do according to the standard, but then you go to a country and the country says, yes, we accept the standard, but we do not accept the certifying body.
Yeah, then
then
you're in trouble, because then you don't have a label.
True, and then in theory, you're not allowed to sell the product, because you're basically not telling the truth on your label. No, so there's a little bit of a minefield out there. So I was lucky to find a body which is accepted everywhere, and then I said, okay, let's do the ESMA GSO one, and I couldn't believe it. There's not one multivitamin globally certified according to the standard. So first I thought that there must be something wrong. Why isn't there anything?
Yeah. What was the
And
reason?
then we started the process, and then I slowly started understanding why no one else is doing it, because this standard includes 2 imams traveling. Ivanka's in Chicago.
Right.
My contract manufacturer is, you wanted to know, is in Santa Ana, just south of LA.
Okay, just north.
So pretty close to where you are.
Yeah, not very far at all.
And so they sent 2 people for 2 days to the contract manufacturer. Each and every sub-supplier. So a multivitamin obviously has multiple vitamins and minerals, plus a few other ingredients. So you easily have 30 sub-suppliers. They all need to be halal certified. The bottle supplier, because obviously what you put into the bottle is in contact with the product, needs to be halal certified.
The materials.
The label, halal certified. And then when they are within the contract manufacturer, they check how many Muslim do they employ. And we are talking LA, yeah? How many Muslim do they employ? Do they offer halal meals in their canteen? Do they have prayer facilities? Are they separating the in and outbound logistics? No, that means goods are coming in. Are the halal goods stored on one side of the warehouse and the non-halal goods on the other side?
Is this a people thing? Sorry, can you go back to the employee thing? Is this an Ivanka?
No, this is the ESMA GSO thing. Nothing to do with Ivanka. Okay. Ivanka is basically the executing body.
Sure. Okay, so ESMA is asking you these questions about the facility.
Correct. So if you want the certificate according to ESMA GSO, you have to fulfill all these criteria.
Okay.
And it goes down
to.
Sorry?
Ivanka is helping you to check off all these boxes.
Correct. So I can't obviously certify myself. So I'm basically contracting Ivanka to make sure that everything is done according to ESMA and GSO.
Right.
And then they certify it. And UAE or GCC or which other country, they all accept the Ivanka as a certifying body. So they say, if Ivanka confirms it is this, it is this. And it is really extreme. So if people are changing in between production lines, they have to go through a cleaning process.
Right. I've seen that in many facilities.
I've seen that, no? And for me, the most interesting part was, because I come from machinery, the grease. At the end of production, you have a packaging machine.
Yeah.
No? And there are bearings and whatever little wheels. So you have to grease these.
Yes.
The grease you apply needs to be food grade halal certified.
Yes, because it can come from a lot of very, very non-halal sources.
So having done all this, so first of all, I could not find a contract manufacturer who was willing to go through all this process, because obviously it is extremely expensive, because you can't run big lots, because I'm a small company. I do a run of a few hundred or a few thousand bottles and not a million like the big ones. And so I was very lucky. So the owners of Robinson Pharma, that's my contract manufacturer, they are originally from Afghanistan.
Okay.
And they left Afghanistan with the first invasion of the Russians in the 70s.
Oh.
So that's when they came to the US. So already a few decades. And by now it's probably the kids running the business. Right. So they know from their heart where we are coming from, because interestingly, in the Middle East, there are no contract manufacturers. Everything comes from the US, from Europe, partially Australia, Canada, because it is a volume business. And then obviously till now, they can't generate the necessary volume in the Middle East.
Not even in Dubai.
There is no contract manufacturer in Dubai. It's all imported. No? So I found the contract manufacturer, and I understood why the big ones are not doing it, because it's just there's no economy of scale for them. And the thing is, so you run a halal product on your production line. And then basically, if you want to run a non-halal product, you can do this immediately. But if after this you want to run a halal product, and that's what you have seen in food processing, you need a very lengthy cleaning
Right.
process. And if you look at these machineries, these machines, they can cost 20, 30 million US dollars. So they need to run 24/7.
Mhm.
And if suddenly you have to stop your machinery for a 6, 7, 8 hour cleaning process, that's obviously all the things business is
Right.
losing. And if any one of the audience know this, please let me know. I have not been able to come across any contract manufacturer who exclusively does halal supplement production. I just haven't found any, because obviously the volume is still too small to justify it. Because you have to imagine these companies, they probably shoot out 100 million tablets a day or something
Sure.
like
Sure.
this. Oh,
It,
and I take not even 500,000. No?
yeah.
So that's,
I
you
don't.
see the volume.
We as consumers, I think we talk so much about what's in the actual product, in to make it halal or not, but
Yeah,
the backstory. I mean, what people in the industry kind of know, and it hasn't really been talked about publicly too much because it can be kind of overwhelming for people, I think, and it feels really tedious to talk about. But I think what a lot of people don't understand enough of, like when they say, why is water halal certified? They're just trying to make money on it. Well, that's not the case. It's that
true.
everything on a product, like when I open this, okay, some products have like an oily grease in here. Where does that oily grease come from? What about the
True.
paper here? Sometimes that's
True.
coated. The coating can come from non-halal sources, and it's not just pig sources. There's lots of other stuff.
It's a lot of other things. Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
think
True.
when people question, they just think like it's a money making scheme. It's not. It's that there's a lot of components to manufacturing, product packaging, and even the kosher community knows this too. They are very intent. I mean, I've been to packaging shows, and there are facilities where they're just talking about kosher manufacturing because
Yeah.
the greases are kosher because there are, unfortunately there's lots of things, we don't know what we don't know. That's all. But people have to trust that when the process is certified by a reputable certifier, that they have
Yeah.
gone through all of those things for you. So you can just not worry, and you can say, okay, this not only are the ingredients in this product halal, but everything about it is halal.
Is halal. And
It touches affects you, right? If you're gonna put this vitamin in your mouth and it's been touching everything else inside of it, then you don't have to think about those.
absolutely true. And it's a very nice bridge you built there. So then I said, okay, this is the one for the Middle East, everyone recognized. But at the same time, I said, okay, what about the so-called international halal certificate? No, it's not related to any country or brand, or it's just international halal certificate.
Mhm.
No? So among us, I can share with you, this cost a 15th of the price than the ESMA GSO one, because all is done is you take the finished product, no matter where it comes from, you just turn around and look at the label. Okay, no pork, no lard, no alcohol. Okay, halal.
Okay.
Take it. And that's unfortunately the more shadier side of the halal economy. Unfortunately, you can get your way around with the non, well, you can't call non-standard because there are unfortunately no standards yet. No, but
Or supplements in general, right?
and that's what we also put it on our website. No, if And don't get me wrong, there are other great bodies other than Ivanka. They are not the only ones. And there are other great certificates which are also done properly. No? But there are also a lot of which are not. No? So if you want to make sure that you think you're getting halal, you can just drop whatever you buy, whether it's food or supplement, just drop them a line. Hey, can you share your halal certification standard with us? And if they're reputable, they would.
Yes,
No, because you don't have to hide anything if you do it right. No?
Right. Any company that gives you excuses or drags their feet on that, they're not. I would move on and find something else. I know when we spoke and then you followed up and sent me the materials. One of the first things you sent me was the Ivanka certificate, which I have right here. People can't see it, but it's a sign of being on top of your business, of course, and also just being transparent. I tell people, like, if people cannot be transparent, don't, and that's for halal or anything else. If they're not, then there's probably something that's going on. So in your case, you have a kind of whammy here. There are skeptics of why does something like this need to be halal certified, and there are skeptics of supplements in general. So that's another thing. Like, people say, well, you don't need to take all of that. You get enough from your food. And personally, I know my answer to that, but I want to hear you.
So I think the good thing is I'm not a doctor. No, my background is not nutrition or medicine or biology or anything. So basically, I come from the consumer side. No? And I probably have tested almost each and every supplement in this world, either for health reasons or to see if I can run a second quicker or cycle a minute quicker or something. No? So there are a few things you can't get away with. So I always tell people the best supplement in the world is sleep.
Sleep.
If you're not getting your sleep, it doesn't matter what else you do. You need your sleep, which does not mean 7 or 8 or 9 hours is the sleep you need. No, there are some unique people who can work perfectly with 5 hours, and the others which need 9. No, but just
you have to know yourself.
You have to know yourself. You know yourself. This number first. The second one is water or hydration. If you're not getting enough liquids in it, and hopefully liquids without too much sugar in it or caffeine or anything, but if you are not hydrated well, it doesn't matter how healthy you eat or which supplements you take. So without these two things, nothing works. So if you sleep enough and drink enough water, you're ready. You're not done yet, but you're pretty much covered. Then we come to food. So if we look about our ancestors, not too far ago, probably just 100, 150 years, food was not pleasure. It was about survival. There were some days you had to eat everything because there were no fridges or anything. So if suddenly you were successful in your hunt or your harvest, to eat whatever you can, because probably you're not going to eat for the next 3 or 4 days. And that's why our bodies, is sad to say, but our body loves fat. The bigger we are, the happier evolution is, because that means you are the one who's going to survive when there's a famine. The 3% body fat bodybuilder is going to die because he has nothing to rely on. So evolution is all about reproduction. So we have already evolution against us if it comes to these things. So, and then it's probably just 50 years, 100 years ago that we have food in abundance. So for us,
yes, exactly.
It's not about getting enough. Is about getting too much. And if you look at the hunter-gatherers and our ancestors, no one would have the idea to get up early in the morning to run 10K if afterwards you have to work in a mine or you have to harvest or you have to hunt animals, because calories is energy. It's like a currency. No, you spare them. No, you don't go to a gym to waste your calories. No, it's
I
people
do in
exist
Ramadan. I feel in Ramadan I'm really like conserving my energy more than any other time.
and that's the thing, because you have no, and especially where you live, the fasting hours or the Ramadan hours uh, here in Singapore is a little bit easier. It's almost always 12 hours, no matter in which month Ramadan
Oh,
falls. No, but
okay.
because we are on the equator. No,
Right.
so but well, good luck if you live in northern Norway. No, you probably have to fast for 19 hours or something like this. No, because it's almost daylight the whole day.
Yeah. It's not going to be
Uh,
easy here this year either. It's like,
yeah. No,
right.
so but then yeah, coming back to the nutrition. So nowadays we have food in abundance, and food becomes a pleasure. Now, most people, when they eat, they don't think about, okay, I need this amount of protein and this amount of carbs and this amount of healthy fats, and I need vitamin A and D and zinc and whatever. You just think, oh, this slice of pizza or whatever smells delicious in my taste buds, and I'm looking forward to it.
For the pleasure of it. Yeah.
And uh, the the thing is, if something which tastes great, unfortunately, is not necessarily healthy. And you are a great cook, so you probably can explain this better than myself. So if you are eating overly processed food the whole time with a lot of MSG, a lot of sauces and spices and so on, it's like your taste buds almost become a little bit numb. No, so if you eat a fresh tomato, even a great one, you probably say, but this is tasteless. I don't like it. No, because your taste buds are not used to it. So the first thing you do is you
Yeah.
put salt on it, or pepper, or chili sauce, or whatever. No, but if your taste bud would be natural, uh, a raw carrot or a raw tomato, they would taste like heaven.
Well, the ones that come from the farm, the ones that not the ones that are, tasteless too. We've lost all,
True, true.
right? The ones that are grown in nice soil and cared for, and you need
Yeah,
a
yeah.
combination today of the taste
It's
and the quality food.
is a big difference. No, but so, but a good thing you mentioned there, soil. No, so our ancestors. So obviously there were less people in the world. There was no natural fertilizer. Fertilizer was your own cow or your goat or something. There was plenty of land. So after one harvest, you just move to the other part of land. But nowadays the soil is depleted.
Yeah,
No,
total.
in industrial farming, more and more fertilizer, floods, droughts, and so on. And if you think of whatever is grown on Mother Earth, so talk vegetables, fruits, what you should eat, and the animals which either grass the grass which is there, or they got fed the corn and so on. All these things, they have to absorb their nutrients from the soil, no, because the rain doesn't contain the nutrients, no. So basically, the deal is, uh, everything we need is in Mother Earth, and then it somehow goes into a plant or into an animal, and then we consume the plant or the animal. But
Right.
unfortunately, this link is broken,
Yes.
because the you just mentioned the tomato from industrial farming just looks delicious. Now it's bright red and round and everything, but unfortunately, the soil it grew on, there's nothing in there. No?
But
So
yet it looks
the
perfect. That's the irony of it. They look so perfect, but then
yeah
the ones grown on
yeah
the organic farms are kind of imperfect, and it's such an irony of our life.
is a pity, no? And if you just look at the nutritional value of let's stick with the tomato, no? Let's say your grandmother had tomatoes in her garden. So she picks one tomato 150 years ago. Well, sorry, that would be your grandmother. So 150 years ago, she picks a tomato from her own garden. And now you go into the whatever supermarket and you take one tomato off the shelf, no? And then you put them there. And then, as you just mentioned, the one from your grandmother has a few spots on it, it's probably a bit edgy, luckily still a bit of earth on it, and so on.
Yeah.
And then you got this nice shiny one you just get. So if you would take the nutritional value of the tomato your grandmother was eating, without going into details, it probably had 3 to 4 times more nutrients than the one you are buying nowadays.
Yeah.
So it's still better to eat that tomato than not to eat anything or to eat something processed. No, don't get me wrong. We have to be realistic. No, not everyone can eat or afford to eat organic or buy things from the farm. Unfortunately, it is like that. Although I always say, then why don't you save somewhere else? No? If don't save on what you put into your body. No,
Yeah.
you can save in what you're wearing or other things. But
Encourage
I
everyone
mean,
to grow their own stuff. That's my.
it's not our job to preach either. No, so we can try to live by example. No, but people have to find their way.
It's hard.
But yeah,
Most people, this is not an easy thing to be busy in
no,
the modern world and
no.
afford and eat healthy. You can try a lot of different things, but it's not
Is
enough.
it is so true, no? And sometimes it's also easy to say, depending on which situation you are, no?
Right.
But if we come back to this, so obviously the soil stuff is growing on is not what it used to be.
Right.
The animals, they are not getting 2, 3, 4 years old anymore. They're just fast fed to become nice and juicy, and then we eat them and so on. If you are still eating meat, or nowadays there's this craze about the vegetable meat or non-meat or magic meat or impossible meat, however you call it. But
Lab grown meat.
careful, partially these are also highly processed foods. No, so not being it meat doesn't mean either that it is healthy. Oh,
Right.
no.
Right.
And
You
less in
know
moderation is
the label. Right.
okay. No, so
Yeah.
but fact is, your grandmother never ever had to worry about supplementation rather than vitamin D, probably, because what they were eating was just great. And non-processed food was the only and cheapest way to eat. Nowadays is the other way around. Processed food, which was unaffordable, is who could afford a pizza 50 years ago? Only the rich people. The other ones, they had the animals in the backyard and their own vegetables, and they were lucky. Nowadays, it's the other way around. No, you have to be
Even my
rich that you
grandparents.
have a farm. No?
Yeah. Even my grandparents' time, they one grandmother had chickens in the back, and the other one had the tomato garden, and it was it wasn't that long
That's,
ago, but
that's all you needed. And even when I grew up, I still remember when we had the first frozen pizza. It was like a miracle, because my mom in our German village, so you had fruits, the ones which were in the season. No, there were no oranges in winter, because obviously when there's snow, you can't eat oranges. No, and you just go to the market and you buy your fruit from the fruit stall, your meat from the meat stall, your bread from the baker. And nowadays you pick it all from the shelf, and to survive on the shelf, there need to be preservatives in the food. Otherwise, it would not survive on the shelf. But in short, our nutrition is not the best anymore, as much as you try. And then on top of this, what you mentioned, some people, yes, I mean, if you have a busy job and 4 kids and probably a grandmother or grandfather to take care of, often the choice is, okay, rather than spending, and that will hurt your cook's heart more than mine. most people, unfortunately, do not spend an hour and a half in the kitchen every day anymore because they just do not know how to make the time. No, and if
I'm
they can, even better. No, and luckily, I mean, California is probably a little bit on the forefront there. No, even eating out, you can eat healthy
you
in
can.
most places nowadays. No, you can get your salad, and instead of the Caesar dressing and the deep fried little
Yeah,
roasties on it, you just go for the balsamic vinegar and the oil, or some healthier dressing. So there are choices. No,
nobody's
but
strange for asking about those things here. It's like so
yeah,
given. Yeah.
yeah.
So
But let's be realistic. Most people do not or cannot make the healthiest food choices. And that's a little bit how we created the formula of our multivitamin. So you obviously are eating something, no? And when you eat something, even in not so good food, there's still something in there. No, it's not completely deprived of vitamins, minerals. No, but depending on the type of food, the content
mhm.
varies. So our idea is more to see it a bit like almost like an insurance policy, because if you eat, let's say, a chicken breast or broccoli, something good, uh, you probably, with a little bit of experience, you can tell how many proteins, how many carbs, and how much fat is in there. But even myself, I could not tell you on the spot what is the percentage of zinc in this chicken breast, no? Or what is the percentage of vitamin A in this broccoli or something? It is impossible,
But
no?
now,
And that
don't you think we're just not getting variety in our diets either? We're just most people don't eat enough greens and well,
absolutely right, no? Is you can't eat 90% of meat and processed food and think you get enough vitamins. No,
right.
it's just like some people say go by the colors. No, the most colorful your plate is, probably the better. No? So, but what we try is we say, okay, uh, your macronutrition is your choice. No, if you want to maintain your weight, you want to lose a bit weight, you want to gain a bit weight. No? But uh, and your body needs a certain amount of calories. No?
Sure.
But beyond that is where the world of micronutrition start, which are basically your vitamins and your minerals, without going into detail. So we want to make sure that whatever your diet is, whether it's already healthy or unhealthy, at least that you get your micronutrients covered.
Right.
So what is this coverage? No, you have the FDA in the US, the Food and Drug Authority, which is recognized globally. So most countries, regions follow them. So they make a recommendation. So where do they get their recommendation from? No, we have people who weigh 40 kg, we have people who weigh 200 kg. No,
Point.
some
Yes.
people are 5 years old, and others are already lucky ones 120. No, we have male, we have female, and so on. So they can only go like this. No, and that there's not much we can do there. So the good thing is we all have the brain and the liver and the kidney and the stomach and so on. And no matter how old we are or our body size and shape, these things more or less work about the same. No, so you will never ever read on a supplement to say below 50 kg take one, up to 100 kg take two, above 150 take three. No, this just doesn't make sense. No, because 150 kg person, their brain does not have a different demand for certain vitamins and minerals than someone who weighs 50 kg. No,
So
so
sorry. Sorry. Go ahead.
there's one recommendation which give and take 15% or something, but it is one recommendation.
Will your body then
And
regulate based on your weight? Like what you
no. So what we do is we follow the FDA for two reasons. One is a recognized body, and you avoid overdosing, because one thing we have to be very, very careful with is we in our current world we try to amplify a lot, not towards the bad and towards the good. No, and if someone says you need, just to say something, let's say 1 gram of vitamin C a day is perfect. No, so a lot of people think, oh, then I take 10 grams. No, even better. But it is not like this. So beyond a certain quantity, there are no additional health benefits. No, so we kept it at the 100% recommendation, and there are only a few ones we go slightly above, which are the ones where you are most likely the most deficient in, which is the vitamin D, no, the sun exposure on or daylight exposure on skin, vitamin B12, which you mainly only get in dark meats, a lot of organ meats, and many people don't like this kind of meat.
That's very
so that's the point. But yeah, again, overdosing is not good, and what happens a lot in the supplement industry, and luckily not so much in the halal one, no, because then we come back what we talked before. So some elements you need micro fractions, so it's something you hardly can't see, no, and others you probably need a gram, which is already the two heads of a needle or a nail or something. So what a lot of companies do is the ones where you don't need much and which are cheap, you just put, sometimes you read like 9,000% of the daily recommended value.
Okay, why do you need that much?
Which doesn't make any sense. And there's also, just one sentence, because that gets a bit complicated. So certain things which are soluble in water. So the only thing which happen is it goes out the next time you go to the toilet. No, so you're just paying for something you don't need. Some are fat soluble, so that means they could build up in your body. And that's when sometimes you read occasionally that someone get like a toxic reaction because they take a vitamin and they think, oh, if one is good, why don't I take 20? It's probably better. No, and some of the vitamins they can build up. No, so we really kept it at the 100%. No, because
go ahead. Please. I'm sorry.
Because the other thing we mentioned is you're already eating something, so you're already getting a baseline of everything, no? And we just want to bring it to 100% and to make sure that the basic needs are covered.
But Martin, how do I know for sure? For example, I take I have maybe a different need of vitamin D than somebody else. How do I know that this is enough for me, for example?
So again, now we are coming a bit more already into biology, medicine, and so on. So if you look at the label, no, and it says 100% vitamin D, or in our case we go a little bit higher, 150%. That means, in theory, you're getting enough, even though you would not be eating anything. You would not be taking anything on the side. No, and we leave a little bit of margin of error, because then it's like whatever gets into your body also competes a little bit. No, so that's the same. Is usually if you eat all your calories in one meal, probably 3 hours later you're hungry again, rather than you spread it out over 3 meals or a few more meals a day. No, so the way to see whether you get enough or not is no doctor can tell you. You would need to do a blood test. No, and you can't do a blood test every day because every day your diet is different. No,
Sure,
so
sure.
you
I
have to trust
test.
yourself. No,
Well, what I was excited about, not just finding out about your product, but then looking at all of the elements in it, was that I take, for example, iodine I take separately, biotin I take separately, vitamin D I take separately, the B vitamins I take separately. Hyaluronic acid I don't take internally, but I know that's good for the skin. I put it on
cream.
my
Yeah,
face.
yeah.
But to have it in one pill, which I have to crush because I'm not a good pill taker, but to have it in one spot, then I don't. It's easier for traveling, but also just it's cheaper because then I don't have to
Yeah.
buy all these other products as well, and then I'm having to calculate, okay, this much biotin, this much this. It's a bit of a headache, and I know there are multivitamins out there, but yours really struck me because, first of all, the halal factor, but having these elements that are particularly essential for women's health. So tell us why
That's
you
true.
focus
So no secret. The benefits go to my wife. No,
on.
because of that. No? So I'm a little bit more of a engineer, science, practical guide. So I was looking a little bit more on the performance side of multivitamin.
Mm-hmm.
And then my wife grounded me and she said, listen,
As they do.
I don't say, oh, yeah, listen, like listen, no, or here, otherwise. No?
Right.
So, yes, we women, we want to be healthy,
Mm-hmm.
no, but at the end of the day, we are still women and we want to look good.
Mm-hmm.
No, just
Yes.
take it. No, we want to feel attractive. No, so don't tell me I'm vitamin D deficient. I know this. Don't tell me I'm vitamin B deficient. I know this. I don't want a man to tell me all these things. No,
Yes,
so
she's.
just put in there what helps us looking good. No,
Mm-hmm.
so which
Right.
basically, let's say from the outside is nails,
The bio.
hair, skin, glow, and so on. So that's why again I got my compound pharmacist helping me. So obviously, you just said you have a problem swallowing pills. Unfortunately, some people have. We experimented a lot with the size, make it smaller, make it bigger. So we try to come up with a size and a shape which most people feel comfortable with.
Mm-hmm.
And then because
The normal size. It's the normal size. I just have a personal.
yeah, no, it's just I know some people. We also have a bisect, so the pill cutter you can also cut it in two if you want.
Yeah.
But so basically, we try to have as little fillers as possible. So you need a few additional substances because otherwise the powder has to stick together,
Right.
obviously. No, and you need
Yeah.
a coating and that it dissolves and so on. But this Robinson Pharma, they are and having said that, we work as much as we can with SMEs. No, Robinson Pharma is the only one which is not the SME within this whole. They're a really renowned company because the factory is a GMP factory, so they do pharmaceutical grade products. 99.9% have to pass constantly the quality control and so
Right.
on. So they have great machinery and they can work with very high pressures. So that means that without increasing the size of the multivitamin, they can make it small. So basically, the game I had with the compound pharmacist was like, okay, what we have left? Now he said, I don't know. We have now 128 milligrams left. We can still put into the tablet. Okay, let's look for this. So, and that's where we came up with the is a multivitamin
Mm-hmm.
high in biotin because there's a lot of scientific proof that biotin is good for skin, hair, and so on.
And but everyone wants to know that, right? We're taking
Is
it.
you have it there. No, the hyaluronic acid is mainly skin and joint elasticity. So you know it from either skin creams, but also if you have joint problems. So, for example, there are a lot of combinations if you have knee pain, or glucosamine, hyaluronic acid, and some others. No, the acid is a little bit misleading. I don't like the name because it doesn't sound very nice that you take acid. No, but it's just how the
Right.
scientists
But
called it.
a
No?
lot a lot of women's face washes and like
Yeah,
every product has it
they
now because
they
it's sloughs
contain
off
it.
the
No?
skin and you put it in face masks. I know this very, very well. So that's why I
True,
was surprised when I saw that
true.
ingredient. I thought
So
these are all the things.
again, credit it on my wife. She probably read it on her skin and said, "Hey, put
Yeah,
it in there."
these are
The other one is glutathione, which also has a lot of evidence to help with the skin.
Mhm.
And the latest one was bamboo extract. So you don't really find this anywhere. So it's
Why-
like if very few people have seen bamboo in nature. So bamboo is absolute amazing wood. No, it
Yeah.
can, if there's a hurricane, all the trees are gone. If there's a blizzard, all the trees are gone. Only the bamboo is standing.
Mhm.
No, because they are elastic, they are strong, they regrow
They grow
quickly.
fast.
Nowadays, they grow fast. You even build bicycles. You can buy bamboo frames nowadays. No, so and this is basically an extract of the bamboo, which is also said to have proven abilities for your skin. No,
Wow.
and then another one was a probiotic. No, because
Right.
obviously it helps with your gut, and coming back to macro and micronutrients is all about what you can absorb, and you need a healthy gut to
Right.
absorb whatever you eat well, because otherwise it just goes through. No?
Yes,
And
exactly.
then the other one was CoQ10 and inositol. These are basically antioxidants. Now, some people heard about free radicals. Now you are stressed and you don't sleep and all these things. So your body gets a little bit out of sync. There are a lot of free radicals running around. And yes, if you get your sleep, it's basically you have to imagine you're stressed and all
Boom.
these free radicals roam around your body,
Shuts
and
your
these
body.
elements, they basically catch like the Pokemon game like 40
Right.
years ago, that the Pac-Man, no, sorry, Pac-Man, not Pokemon, no. So it
Right.
basically absorbs the free radicals. And we were able to put this all in one tablet because of the manufacturing theory. And then we can also come back to big pharma and big companies. Of course, they want to sell a multivitamin, glutathione, inositol. So they want to sell
Yeah.
6, 7 supplements rather than having all in one. But because
Right.
we are a small company, we have this one SKU, and then we come all back to the socially conscious, sustainability, halal, Islam. So we
Mm.
put everything into one tablet. No? And then so far the results are very good. No, we have a lot of positive comments, but uh, again, it is a great product, but it is also not a miracle. No? So if you
No.
have a lousy diet and you don't sleep and you don't move, don't
Sure.
expect that a multivitamin is gonna solve you. No, it's
That's
like,
so true. And a good doctor or a good healthcare provider will say that. I went to acupuncture yesterday, and the
okay,
acupuncturist said to me, this is kind of like a reset on your body, and it can really, it gets the blood. I asked, does it flow the blood? And he said, uh, yes, but nothing can ever replace movement and good food. Two things. And I thought, well, yeah,
true.
that's honest, I mean, but it's true. It's like common sense, but it's true. Like, these are things that we're doing to, again, supplement our health, right? But
Yeah,
there's no substitute for a nice walk or a good run or swimming or
yeah,
something,
def
but then you can't
definitely.
go and eat junk, after doing all those things. So we have to. I think Ramadan is this perfect time to, again, I'm just going to say it again, to just think about ourselves, right? I mean, it's a time for inner
Definitely.
reflection, and to really pay attention. I mean, if you want to read a label, read this label. There's a lot in here, but
there is,
it's not like
and it's even in Arabic too, because we want to make because there's another thing we haven't talked about yet, is because we are moving in this business now. You are into food, I'm into supplements, but most people, and I see it in my wider family, they can read the label, but they still don't know what it is. No, they never learned it in school.
no.
And probably because it is in English, they can't understand. No, so that's why I put it in Arabic also, that people can
Nice.
understand what it is. And then especially for Ramadan, is that's the only time where we recommend to take 2 tablets if you want. So we have it in one serving size, because I always find it confusing if you say 2, no? Or some say before the meal, and one say after the meal, and another one say in between. So our tablet, you can take it whenever you want, no? Just 1 tablet. No, that's all. But during Ramadan, so because you're obviously not having any food intake wherever you live, anything between 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 hours. So our recommendation is before you start fast, you take 1. So you know that your micronutrients are covered. And when you break your fast, what here in Singapore, we usually do it with dates. No, I'm actually not so sure how you do in California. We usually have 2 or 3 dates. No, same, or
yeah.
And to break the fast, and then we often do it at my mom's in-law or other families. So again, unfortunately, the food during Ramadan is so nice and so rich, but again, it's not necessarily the most healthiest one either, if it's done in the bit more traditional way. No? So what we recommend is take 1 early in the morning before the fast, and just take 1 if you feel like, once you broke your fast, and then you're covered. All the rest of the year, 1 is fine. Oh, and don't overdo things.
Do you have to refrigerate these? I know it's kind of a silly question, but I wonder.
No. So it is basically, it's a little bit difficult to open because it is heat sealed. No, so that means you can store it everywhere. If you want, you can put it in the fridge. But once you put it in the fridge, you have to keep it in the fridge, because otherwise it's a bit like food. No, if you put it in the fridge and then you keep it out, there might be some moist or some condensation on the inside and so on. No?
So open it and
myself, for example, we open it and then we just leave it in the cupboard or outside. We made it look very nice, so you can also leave it outside, no, with the little angel and the little embroidery on top there. But you can also put it in the fridge. It's usually capsules. So if people take omega-3, for example, or this is usually better. Or if you take a probiotic in a capsule, which are live cultures in bracket, these things are usually better to keep in the fridge once open. But tablets,
that's good to know.
But of course, so 60 tablets. So in theory, you would be done after 60 days. If you leave them open for too long, so it's like the expiry date is always in relation before you open a product. Is it now think an apple is nice and green or red or yellow. Once you bite it, an hour later you see like little
orange
brown stains, which is nothing wrong. It's just the natural reaction with the apple with oxygen from the air. No,
Right.
and let's say if it's 60 tablets, so 60 days, but for whatever reason you opened it, you left it in the cupboard or even the fridge for a year, and then you look at it again, there might be some little stains on it, because after like 140, 150, 180 days, it can have a little reaction with oxygen. No, but it's the same like the apple. It doesn't mean that the product is bad.
We should be done with it by then, though. By 2 months,
yeah. Usually, if you take it regular, and that's the other thing.
if you're letting
Yes.
it go bad. Yeah.
Yeah. Good that you mentioned this. So another thing is, what we said already, don't expect a miracle from taking a supplement. You really have to integrate it in your lifestyle. No,
Mm,
it's not
sure.
something you do once and then you said, "Oh, I did this for 6 months now. I'm fine for life now." No, no,
No,
it's
no.
you
Stay
have
on
to keep
top of our health.
the habit, like with everything.
Lifelong thing. It's a lifelong
No?
thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Exactly. I think there's a holistic approach to our health, like I try to do all the things possible, whether it's like acupuncture, hijama, eh, taking my supplements, and I eat well. Trying all the time, taking care of your skin, your hair, your everything. It's all part of that amana that God gave us.
True.
That
True.
our body is some people say it's a temple, right? There's a phrase, but we know as Muslims, like the body's an amana. It's a trust Allah gave us. So we will be asked about this, how well we took care of our bodies in one day. So, I take that very seriously, that if there's something that's going to improve your health, make you feel better, do those things, because again, this body is an amana.
Absolutely true. No one is going to do it for you.
No.
No, so you can get, and not only you can get all the advice you can get from many different sources. Find out what works best for you
Right.
and stick to it. No, I love to try new things, but please do not try something new every week. No,
Yeah.
there needs to be a certain period of time to try out things, and then
Right.
don't let other people decide for you. No,
Absolutely.
take
Absolutely.
the decision yourself whether it's good for you or not.
And I also believe, we are very fortunate to live in this time period where we can talk to people like yourself who are this is your baby, this company, this product, you built it from scratch, and we get all of this insight. We get into your head about, why you did it, how you did it, and that tells a story of the integrity of the product, of knowing your why, how much you care. I mean, that makes me want to support you more and more than a product that I really don't know anything about, and who's behind that. And that's the sort of social business where we're able to uh, we're able to buy from, like, as consumers say, we're able to, like, really understand more than just the product itself, but the people that are creating it. We can support that. So I really appreciate that you took the time to tell us all of those details. I know it's very personal, and you've just you sharing it, and that transparency is worth so much.
Thank you very much. No, it was a pleasure. No, and then as I said, I come from the experience side. No, and I always find it's also easier to understand because I myself I do not have to use all the technical and medical terms that might sound very intelligent, but no one understands you. No, so hey, thanks a lot, Yvonne, for having me. I'm not sure if there are any questions, or
Yeah.
if there are, people can also shoot it at you. You can come back to me. I'm
Yes.
not sure how we are doing.
You're welcome to. So, a couple of things here, and I want to come back to you with a question. But when if you guys are watching this live, but you just came in and you want to rewatch it, it will be live on YouTube, inshallah, tonight or tomorrow morning. So if you click on the notification bell on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/myhalalkitchen, you'll get a notification when it comes live, and all future videos come live, and then click on the subscribe button and you'll also get notifications. But Martin, I think it's time to tell everybody where they can find the products, because one thing I did read from your website is that you don't sell from your website. You don't have an online shop yourself, but you work with respected retailers that can provide the products, like Amazon, US, UK, UAE, correct? And a couple of other
Singapore.
can you tell us?
Yeah, so yes, is because we only have one product. which always makes a challenge between the transport cost and the product cost. No, so we are on your shop. No, so that's
Yeah.
the
Yes.
first thing on the My Halal Kitchen shop.
Mm-hmm.
We are on Amazon in the US, where you could also order from Canada via the US. No, we are in Amazon UK, Amazon Singapore, and Amazon UAE, and a few other ones which are more known in the regions like Mum's World in the UAE or Lazada, Qoo10, FitFab in Singapore. Just have a look at our website, just type in Blue Angel Farm in Google and our website come up. Or if you're so kind, you can also share it, Yvonne, and there on the shop page is basically leads you to the different sales channels
Yeah.
we have.
Well, yeah, we'll put the links. I've put the Amazon link and My Hello Kitchen link. And I don't think I can access the Amazon UAE from here. But if you're in the UAE or in the UK, just go to your Amazon site and type in Blue Angel Farm.
Blue Angel Farm.
Yeah, and I think it's really commendable, Martin, that you have one product right now. Because the other thing I read and also from talking to you that I gathered is that you really focus on perfecting this product before moving on to something else, and then really testing that product to make sure it's like 1,000% something you want to give, have people consume, which is, that's the way it should be. So I some people want to like launch a company with like 20 products and like have so much out there, but the focus you have on this one product really indicates the time, the energy, the quality that comes out of that work. So I have to say, I'm really impressed with that.
Thank you very much. And yes, that's our intention. No, you can't be perfect starting with 10 products. No, right. So we start with one because we also wanted to see where's this going to. No, there are a lot of people already asking, don't you have omega-3, for example, is also a very popular product. No? Or then people come a little bit more from the performance side. They say, hey, we can't find halal certified protein powder, for example. And my answer is always yes, it's all in the pipeline, but let us dial in first to do one product right. No, it's a learning curve, and when all this established, for sure we will come up with more products.
Well, it's very serious too, because you are providing something that people consume, and that is a very big responsibility. Anytime you are making food or anything that's consumable to people, there's a safety issue. There's a huge responsibility to make sure that it's right, it's safe. And everything about it is what you stand behind. So I think that there's something to be said for really focusing and making sure things are done right and then moving on to the next thing. Most people don't do that today, I would say.
Thank you very much, Yvonne. Yeah, that's true.
Okay, is there anything else that we missed that you wanted to share before we say goodbye?
Remember, I asked you before, I said, should we talk 15 minutes or the whole day? I think we had a very comprehensive journey through all the aspects. And again, if it's more detailed things, people can reach out to you. You can forward it to me. Because we are a small business on our website. There's my telephone number on the website. Or if people dial in from, I don't know, countries we are not represent yet, contact me if you're interested in the product in Nigeria or Azerbaijan or wherever you are in the world. You're always dealing directly with the owner, and let's make this halal economy a big thing.
I think you should get on Trendyol or Hepsi Burada in Turkey. That's my nudge.
For example, it's another one. And unfortunately, this is all Teams and Zoom and so on. But inshallah, we're going to meet in person one day. Inshallah. Again, a pity we didn't know when I visited the contract manufacturer in 2019, 2020. But that was before we know each other. But inshallah, the next time is gonna work.
maybe we'll see you in Istanbul at the World Halal Summit, and then we can really nudge
I
you
try my best.
products in Turkey as well, because when I go back, I want to have products there. Otherwise, I have to carry them. It's easier to just buy from their online shops. So just a little dream of mine, Martin, but we'll see what we can do.
Hey, thank you so much, Yvonne,
Thank you
for your time and everything. And thanks to the listeners. And yeah, shout out all the messages if they come to your mind, whenever you feel like. Let's stay in contact and let's make this world a little bit better place, step by step.
Right. It's people like you who do that. Thank you, Martin. You have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.
And Mubarak to you and your family. Have a good one.
I will. Same to you.
Share some recipes, Singaporean recipes. I have to say, I don't know too much about the cuisine, but
I connect you with one of my distributors. They just recently launched a cookbook with halal Singaporean recipes. I'm going to connect the two of you.
Connect me? Yes.
And you're going to have fun.
Yes, inshallah. Yeah. Oh, that sounds great. All right.
Excellent.
Talk to you again soon.
Good one to everyone. Have a good day.
Bye.
Or good evening for you guys. Bye.
Go.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.